Alright guys, so this is going to be the trade recap for 826. I'm going to go over all the technical analysis and everything I used on the day. So right off the bat, if we come over to our skylit terminal, and okay, but this is on NVIDIA. Yeah, NVIDIA had insane earnings. So if you actually look in the morning, right, this is what I signaled. Not that. Let me just turn this off real quick. So where is okay, there. So in the morning, right, we set the IB high, we got a nice rejection, and I top ticked these shorts, and the main reason I took these was if we come over to NQ, if you guys remember, I marked out these structural levels, right? So I marked out these highs over here at 313 because this was an area where we had major resistance in the past. So I'm expecting sellers to defend this area. So over here, we ended up getting a sweep. I took the first short down. It was a nice, I think, 50, 60 point short. So my fill was literally on 309/313. I'm pretty sure I had it at 313 was my fill. But I shorted this down, took it for around like 50 points with a 10-point stop. So that was pretty good risk to reward. Normally whenever I take like a quick scalp setup like this, I put more size and less of a stop on it. Then we came back up and we swept again. And on ES, I don't think we took a major liquidity just yet. But on ES we had this double top over here that played out. And then coming over at NQ again, like if you shorted this went all the way down. And then I said I was looking for a golden zone fib retracement off of the for the IB break of the highs because we had a 97% chance of breaking the highs. And to me that was high probability. So now if we look back, right? If I were to draw a bullish fib setup on SPX, so if I were to draw for a bullish fib, when we got into the golden zone was when I longed because there was a reverse rug here on SPX at 7670, and on QQQ we actually did get a failed break of the lows with a tap at the 708 node that ended up growing as support, and that was another reverse rug off of the 709 up again, and SPY had the king node at 765 as well. So we had all of those convictions for those longs back up, and I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure ES this was later in the day. But ES over here ended up just double bottoming from this open right here. So there was a double bottom right here on ES if you actually look. From that open, there was that double bottom. So we had basically this double bottom I was looking over here with the sweep. And QQQ swept the low of day and failed to break the IB low. And we got a V-band reversal all the way back up, which was pretty nice. Now, I didn't take this short over here, but we were coming into a bearish fib setup on QQQ if I were to draw the fib the other way. This was a bearish fib setup, so I took my profit here. And that's just because when we got into the golden zone for a bearish fib setup, I didn't really see much nodes to put price higher because these king nodes to the downside never faded away. So we actually got a sweep here again, and they sent it back down, all the way back down. And this was like this is the long that I saw and took for the day as well, which was off of this bottom over here on QQQ. SPX and SPY made a new low a day. Now QQQ failed to do so, and I kind of used some technical analysis in the point that the 1 hour IB low did not break, and we swept out these lows again. So it was it was basically a triple bottom here. And then if you look at ES, right, if we look left, we double bottomed these lows over here. So we took out major liquidity on ES. NQ also had pretty much a double bottom from here after sweeping the IB low. Again, another failed break. So this is the long I took. And you could have put, like, I had a way tighter stop on this. But if you had a 20-point stop, targeting back to IB high, like, this was good risk to reward, right? You just let this run for the day. You could have took some partials around, like, this chopping area. And this, like, ended up running. And we saw the IB high break. And then, just look, we're just trending way higher now. So we had a strong break to the upside. And that's kind of how I use, like, technical analysis with fibs. And I do draw fibs backwards sometimes in order to do some technical analysis. Or for exits. Because as I saw the downside was growing, I saw we were in a bearish golden fib setup for QQQ. And I did mention this on stages. Now, this is where a lot of people got messed up on. Because they try to short these 3 king nodes. Now, what I'll say is that whenever I'm playing a deflection on positive, or not my bad, negative nodes, I normally want to look at a positive for a reverse rug or a rug setup. I don't play negatives ideally on their own unless I have more conviction on another indice. Now, SPX had a reverse rug as there was a negative here, so it's hard if price got above, it would be a scary risk factor that the reverse rug was there. Now, QQQ ended up putting the 711 and technically had a rug back down, and SPY had a 766 node here, which is was pretty small, but it's right here, and also had a rug back down. But the reason I didn't short it was because the SPX King node was holding as support with a reverse rug with 3 Barneys to the upside. So you got 1, 2, 3 accelerants back to the upside, and these 2 negative Barneys were growing and accumulating to the upside on SPX. If we look at the nodes, right, we could see over here that technically you could consider this a floor roll-up on Qs. And for me, that's why I said it's hard for me to short this. So it was hard for me to short this floor roll-ups. And we were holding above this previous day close. And to me, this is kind of like a pivot flip to what was previously resistance was holding now as support. And then we finally got that break of the highs. And what I'm looking at as well is that, okay, the 1 hour IB also never broke to the highs. So this was the break. Then I said 713 had a rug setup. Same with SPX had the 7690. Me personally, I didn't take the short, but it did run. And it was pretty much a top tick after we swept out the high day. So you had to sweep of these highs over here. And then you could have shorted at the king node. And that would have been a nice deflection play to play all the way back down. So that's pretty much the trade recap I have for today and all the technical analysis I'm doing throughout the day. I'm looking basically for double tops, double bottoms, fib levels, and on both NQ and ES. Now, you could have waited for us to reconfirm above the 786 like golden zone here and longed it back up or waited for VWAP, but your best entry would have been down here. And the reasoning for that was because if we look at the king node at SPX, we got the bounce from the 7655. And then we ended up reclaiming back support here. So price delivery back up. And instead of shorting these, just because these could be ideally flipped to support, because there wasn't really much setups that I saw, or there wasn't a positive for a deflection for me to play off of, right? SPX did have this king node here, but all the Barneys to the upside were still growing as the downside was decreasing. That's why I always say the Trinity is very important to pay attention to. So hope you guys enjoy. I'm going to be trying to get the videos up for everything else that I've been going over on technical analysis and getting that up.